If you clicked on this video, then I already know two things about you. One, you want to figure out your wavy hair, and two, you've probably told yourself every excuse in the world as to why you can't do it. My hair is just frizzy. Even if I can get it to look nice, it's not gonna last. I don't have the time for all those crazy routines, and I certainly don't have all the money for all those products. It's just so much easier if I straighten it. Do any of these sound familiar? Look, I'm not judging because these are all things that I've told myself from time to time over the years. And honestly, when I first started to try to figure out my own naturally curly or wavy or whatever it is hair, I was completely overwhelmed by all the information that's out there. And the products and the techniques and the rules, they were insane. But once I ditched the dye, I really wanted to see if I could also embrace that wriggle that I had going on in my hair. And having long, wavy, gray hair was something that I actually dreamed of. And so for me, embracing my gray hair and then embracing my wavy hair were actually really similar processes. Now, giving up hair dye is one thing, and then giving up straightening your hair is another. And so it's understandable if you're a little bit hesitant to do it. But it's my personal goal that by the end of this video, you're going to feel less intimidated and even excited and confident about trying to set your natural wavy hair free. So let's get into it. This is how to get over your fear and finally learn how to make your wavy hair look great and embrace not only your unique natural hair color, but your unique natural wave pattern. All right, so the biggest hurdle that wavies face is feeling lost and not knowing where to begin. There's a lot of information out there for curly hair, but there's not as much information out there for wavy hair. Very unique challenges that come with having wavy hair. Hair that's not quite straight, but it's not quite curly. It's some variation in between. And so because it's so unique and so individual, there is kind of like a trial and error period that has to occur when you're gonna try to embrace it. Okay, so in my last video, I talked a lot about confidence and how you develop confidence along your gray hair journey. And if you haven't seen that video, you should check it out. But the wavy hair journey is very similar because you develop confidence with it along the way. And so you know how some people will compliment somebody who's going gray, but then they'll say, "Oh my gosh, I love your gray, but I could never do that." Whenever I hear that sort of thing from my friends or my coworkers or even people online, I think to myself, no, you could pull it off. You really could. And pulling off gray hair is about confidence, but so the same thing holds true if you've been straightening your hair and you want to embrace your wavy hair. So even if you feel like you would love to give your hair a break from heat, but you would also like to do it without your hair looking like you stuck your finger in a light socket, you can do it. Trust me. When you feel excited and good about your natural hair color and you've started that journey, you might start thinking about how to learn to love your natural hair texture. And just like there are certain things about the gray hair journey that you kind of have to think about, there's a lot of things that you think about when it comes to embracing your wavy hair. And so it's important when you start embracing your wavy hair and you're feeling like, I don't want to use layers and layers of products. I don't like that sticky feeling that my hair gets when I have tons of products in my hair, or I don't want to sit there and have to investigate a whole bunch of ingredients in a product that I want to use in order to make sure it's safe according to some method that I'm trying. The styling methods are just way too time consuming and complicated, or I can never get it to look good the next day. When all those thoughts start spiraling, you have to keep in mind that you can figure out a very simple routine that works for you. And if it breaks all the curly girl rules, who cares? Just like ditching the dye, when you push yourself past your comfort zone and you embrace your natural wavy hair, you open yourself up to new ways of loving things about your hair that you might have spent years hiding. And just like going gray, this gives you an incredible freedom. When I think about all the women that I've talked to over the years who have either wanted to embrace their gray hair or they've wanted to embrace their wavy hair, or both, but are feeling kind of intimidated by it, there's one core thing that really gets to the heart of it all, and that's the fear of failing in front of other people. Because the thing that makes embracing your gray hair or your wavy hair different from trying other things is that you're doing it in front of other people. You're doing it and other people can actually see what you're doing. I mean, it's on your head, so it's right out there. So if, for example, you're learning how to cook, well, nobody has to actually eat what you make. So you don't have to really worry about failing in front of other people. But with gray hair and wavy hair, you are literally wearing it on your head for all the world to see. Now, in the beginning of both growing out your gray hair and embracing your natural hair texture, your wavy hair, your curly hair, maybe letting your hair air dry, I'll be honest, nobody is really going to know if this is something that you're intentionally doing in the beginning unless you tell them. So they just might think that maybe you missed a hair dye appointment, or that you forgot to brush your hair because your hair's looking a little bit frizzy as you're trying out some new products and techniques. And so the pressure is kind of off. So even though it feels like you're doing it publicly, you're really not. It's just that you might not feel like you exactly look your best as you're trying to figure it all out. So I'll speak for myself here, but let me know if you can relate. So I have always dreamed of embracing my natural hair color as well as my natural hair texture. And I always liked the idea of being able to go naturally wavy or curly or whatever I had going on that day, even if it was just occasionally. And I didn't really care if people knew that I was going gray and going wavy and not using heat on my hair, on one condition: that my hair looked beautiful the entire time. So if I was gonna be walking around with my natural wavy gray hair, then I wanted people to look at me with all my natural hair color and my natural waviness and think that it looked beautiful, and even more importantly, and tell me that it looked beautiful so that I could be confident about it. But what I was really worried about was being seen as this haggard, almost witchy looking woman that had apparently given up on everything. And honestly, when I wear my hair wavy, when I don't straighten my hair, and even though my gray hair is all grown out, I still struggle with this feeling of sort of being unkempt and not feeling very put together. It seems kind of ridiculous, but it does speak to the fact that even if you are fully grown out gray, or even if you figure out how to get your waves or your curls or your coils looking amazing, you're still not always going to be fully confident with it. And that's okay. The point is that you are going to have to spend some time figuring out your hair texture, just like you had to spend time growing out hair dye, or just like you would spend growing out hair dye if you haven't grown out hair dye. Working towards knowing what products your hair likes or what products your hair doesn't like, how much or how little effort you need to put into it, and how to keep it looking great on day 2, on day 3, and beyond. But just know that both growing out your gray hair and embracing your natural hair texture are linear processes. There's really no way you can sort of skip ahead or skip the line, so to speak. You're just gonna need to accept the fact that there's going to be an awkward phase as you try to figure things out. And as you gain confidence, and then, eventually you're gonna wanna start sharing it with other people, you might just find that they not only applaud you, but they actually start asking you for advice because they wanna do it too. This goes for both your gray hair or if you're embracing your natural texture. And I think most people in general are gonna just admire your courage to try something new. Okay, but here's the thing specifically to embracing wavy hair. Because there's not as much information out there about wavy hair and embracing wavy hair, it's actually easier to not get overwhelmed. And I've tried all the complicated methods that are out there, and I believe that the key to embracing your wavy hair is really keeping it as simple as possible. Wavy hair has needs that are different from curly hair. And in my experience, wavy hair just does not do well with products layered one on top of each other like maybe curly hair does. This is good news for you because it not only saves time and effort, but it also saves money. I tried the curly girl method on my hair, and after all the rules and the products and the techniques, I completely was overwhelmed and I basically failed at it miserably and I quit. I started straightening my hair again. And I like it when my hair is straight, especially when it's cooler outside and it really behaves. I love it. And the thought of never being able to use heat on my hair, I don't like people telling me what to do. So I don't use that method at all. So my simple wavy hair routine is so basic. Like, I don't know, you might question me, but I actually question myself sometimes because it's so easy that I can't believe it actually works after everything I went through trying to figure it out. Most of the time when I decide, okay, I'm not gonna straighten my hair, I'm gonna wear it wavy, then I just really wash and condition my hair with literally the same shampoo and conditioner that I normally use when I'm straightening it. I know, right? I might use the purple shampoo if I think my silver, needs a little bit more vibrancy. If it's starting to turn a little bit yellow, then I might throw in a little bit of purple shampoo, depending on when I'm washing my hair, how long it's been since I've used purple shampoo. Now, that's not to say that I never use shampoos and conditioners that are designed for curly hair. I do have them, and if they're handy, I will use them. But as a rule, I don't usually try to separate, okay, I'm gonna straighten my hair, so I'm gonna use this shampoo and conditioner, and now I'm gonna go ahead and use my curly stuff. I don't really do that. So I just wash my hair like normal, and I rinse it out like normal, and then I apply the conditioner. Now here's where it goes a little bit different than just regular washing, because at this stage, I'm going to comb it in using a wide tooth comb, which I do that anyway, even if I'm gonna straighten my hair. But then I do something that's called squish to condish. And this is where you start forming those clumps in the shower. So you take your hands underneath the bottom at the ends of your hair and you kind of squish up to the roots of your hair, and you should hear this very satisfying squishing sound. And that's just kind of getting that conditioner really into your hair. But then I do actually rinse it out. I might leave a little bit in as kind of like a leave-in, so I rinse it out most of the way, and maybe normally I would, keep rinsing. I might leave a little bit, like 10% of it in or something like that. And so after I've rinsed out the conditioner, this is something else that I do. I have my styling product in the shower. So that way I am applying it to my hair when it's sopping wet. So I've turned the shower off at this point. I have not left the shower yet, and I apply whatever product I'm using. Now notice that I am using a single tense when I say product. I use one product when I style my hair curly. So to get this look, this was with one product. And before I get to that, so I literally, I comb the product through my hair with the wide tooth comb. If for some reason I don't have that comb sitting in the shower, I will just rake it through with my hands, and then I will do another scrunching, another kind of squish to condish movement with my hands to really get that product distributed through my hair evenly. And so the gel that I like to use the most is this gel by Curl Keeper. I've been using it ever since I figured out what my hair likes, and it's called the Original Styler. And it is very liquid. You think about gel, I don't know about you, but when I first started saying I'm not gonna use gel on my hair because I'm gonna look like back in the 80s, when everybody had that stiff, crunchy hair. Nobody taught us how to do our hair. We didn't know that you had to scrunch out that crunch and get rid of that crispiness. So we walked around with this stiff hair, and it felt very producty. So what I like about this gel is it literally almost has the consistency of water. It's very lightweight, which is very important for wavy hair because you don't want to have heavy products like curl creams and that kind of thing weighing your hair down. I can get away with some curl creams, but you have to be very careful. I use very little if I'm gonna use the curl cream. And the only reasons that I ever use a curl cream is if maybe it's extra humid outside and I need that extra hold or that extra frizz control. But most of the time I try to get it down to one product. Then when you come out of the shower, you don't want to put your hair up in a towel. You don't want to use one of those twisty turban things because that's going to twist your hair in a way that's going to make your waves look kind of wonky. But you definitely want to use something microfiber because if you use a regular towel, that can actually cause frizz. And that's the enemy. That's what we want to avoid altogether. That's probably why you're not embracing your wavy hair in the first place, because you're worried about frizz. Frizz is like, no, no. And so, you know, yeah, so that's how you can avoid that. You can also squish out some of the water using a t-shirt. And so the key when you are trying to remove the excess water using your microfiber towel or these crazy gloves by Curl Keeper that I absolutely love, or you can even use a t-shirt, just not a regular towel, trust me on this. The movement, the direction is that you push those waves, those curls in an upward movement in the same movement that you did when you did the squish to condition in the shower. So you want to just be thinking about it. You're trying to defy gravity with those curls in an upward movement. Now, sometimes I'm going to plop. I'm going to put my hair in that t-shirt. I have videos on this in my curly hair playlist, but sometimes I might plop. Sometimes I just might not. I do like to root clip because I do like the extra volume that it gives me at the roots, but again, you don't have to unless you feel like the top of your head tends to get really flat. Then I definitely recommend root clipping, and all I use are those little alligator clips that, you know, back in the 90s when the Spice Girls used to wear about 6 of them in their hair, that's what I use. And then sometimes I might actually diffuse it, other times I won't. I really don't like diffusing. It takes a long time. I get very bored, and I kind of feel like diffusing defeats the purpose of not using heat on my hair, because one of the reasons I like to go natural is to give my hair a break from heat. Again, especially with gray hair, silver hair can take on yellow tones from heat styling tools. So, you know, sometimes it's nice to give your hair a break from them, especially if you are silver and you're noticing some yellowing. It could be your heat styling tools. Yeah, but diffusing to me is one of the most boring things that I can do. My arm gets tired. I just don't like it. I have a lot of hair. I have very long hair and it takes forever. So at this point, I'm just gonna walk around with these clips in my hair, doing my thing. I actually went to the grocery store looking like this. It is what it is. You know, the 90s are back in style, so if these clips are a thing, why not? And if they're not a thing, I guess maybe we'll make them a thing. By the way, I was in Target the other day, and those platform penny loafers that we used to wear back in the 90s, those are back in style again. I just got rid of those like 5 years ago. I should have held on to them. Oh well. And finally, I just give it a good scrunch out the crunch, and that's it. So when it comes to learning what works for your hair, there are really 2 ways to do it. Number 1 is to use the least amount of products to give you the result that you want. I recommend starting with a lightweight gel like the one I used from Curl Keeper, or with a mousse, something very lightweight, and then work your way up. Because remember, at least in my experience, wavy hair does not like being weighed down with heavy curl creams. And the second one is to practice different techniques. See how long they take and see how they fit into your lifestyle and what you're willing to do. I love the way that my waves look when I brush style them, but sometimes that process just takes longer than I'm willing to do. So try out a variety of techniques and see what works the best with your hair, see what works the best with your schedule. The main thing I want to say though is, just like with the gray hair journey, you're going to need a little bit of patience and give yourself and your hair that time to figure out what works. It's like anything new, and it was this way for me. There was a learning curve. You know, I had to go full on curly girl method at first, only to realize that my wavy hair just did not like that. And neither did I. So if you want some more support on starting your wavy hair journey or your gray hair journey, or both, then make sure that you check out my channel. I have tons of videos on inspiration and tutorials and how-tos, anything that you need to get you started. In fact, you might want to check out this one next. As usual, thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you think you might embrace your wavy hair. Also, let me know if you're embracing your natural hair texture alongside your gray hair. That is total badass. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. When you were squished to condition, when you were squishing to condition, that's the